pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First on our agenda is a proclamation designating September 23rd to the 29th, 2024 National Sea Tracks Think Train Week. Whereas Sea Tracks Think Train Week is to be held across the United States from September 23rd to 29th, 2024. And whereas 2,192 rail-grade crossing collisions resulted in 765 personal injuries and were responsible for 248 fatalities in the United States during 2023. And whereas 1,378 pedestrian trespassing casualties have occurred in the United States, resulting in 663 pedestrians being killed and another 715 injured while trespassing on railroad property right-of-ways during 2023. And whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety, reminding the public that railroad right-of-ways are private property, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with highway rail grade crossing, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening while near railways, and obeying established traffic laws will reduce the number of avoidable fatalities and injuries caused by incidents involving trains and citizens. And whereas the International Association of Chiefs of Police, National Operation Lifesaver, United States Department of Transportation, and all local, state, county, and railroad law enforcement officers, first responders, and railroad corporations commit to partnering together in an effort to educate at national level all aspects of railroad safety, to enforce applicable laws in support of National Sea Tracks Think Train Week. Now therefore, be it resolved that I, Régis Charlot, Village President of the Village of Lake Bluff, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the week of September 23 to 29, 2024, the National Sea Tracks Think Train Week in the Village of Lake Bluff. On this day, thank you. And I would say, this is actually really hard to say, by the way, for a French person, okay?
You did a great job, Regis.
The word railroad, not good. Oh. Sorry about that.
Fatalities.
You
Say that 10
great.
times.
You did great.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is an important subject. A lot of people are affected by this subject, and the best we can do, the better it is for our communities. So thank you. Next on our agenda is item number 4, the consideration of the minutes of the July 22nd, 2024 regular village board meeting. Is there a motion to approve the village board minutes?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Thank you.
You know what, I'm sorry, that's a typo. It's actually the August 26th meeting. Apologize.
You're right. I
No,
was
you read what the agenda says. The agenda's wrong.
wondering about that.
Yeah.
Are there any changes beside
The date,
date?
for clarity's sake.
That's fine.
Yeah.
As long as the board knows what they're voting on, we're
Yep.
good.
Okay.
No comment on the minutes? I've read the minutes. I couldn't find anything as well. It is a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you very much. Next is the non-agenda items and visitors. The village president and board of trustees allocate 15 minutes during this item for those individuals who would like the opportunity to address the village board of trustees on any matter not listed on the agenda. Each person addressing the village board of trustees is asked to limit their comments to a maximum of 5 minutes. I do not see anybody in the room as members of the public. Do we have anybody online?
There are 2 participants online, but I don't think they are prepared or desiring to make any comments. And they haven't raised their hand, so I think you're clear to move on.
Thank you. Moving forward. Next is our village board setting the order of a meeting. The village president and board of trustees will entertain requests from anyone present on the order of business to be conducted during the village board meeting. Do we have any requests?
No, sir.
Moving forward, next would be our village finance report, and specifically our warrants report for August 27 to September 9th, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the warrants report?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. And specifically as a summary of background and reason for request, we have today expenditure of village funds for payments of invoices in the amount of $216,938.21 for August 27th to September 9, 2024. And again, the documentation is attached to our packet. Are there any questions and comments on the board?
None.
No.
None? I went through the ledger and I couldn't see anything else worthy of a question tonight, so thank you. It is a roll call. Clerk, please.
Trustee Hatch.
Aye.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Next would be our village administrator's report.
I have no report this evening.
Thank you. And followed by our village attorney's report. And tonight, this is Courtney. Thank you.
No report.
Followed by my report. And tonight, we have the appointment of John Tanner to the Historic Preservation Commission. Subject to the consent of the Board of Trustees, the village president appoints members to the village various advisory boards and commissions. President Schaller hereby recommends the appointment of John Tanner II to fill a vacancy on the Historic Preservation Commission. If approved, Mr. Tanner's term will expire on April 30, 2026. I would like to say that we first discussed this item a couple weeks ago, and I also had the chance to meet with John this past Thursday, where we had coffee and we had a good hour of conversation where it proved to be where John has been very much invested in our community for the past 40 years and is very much interested to contribute to the HPC for the benefit of the village. Do we have any questions on the board?
No questions.
So we're looking for a motion.
Could I please have a motion for the appointment of John?
So moved?
Second.
It's a voice vote.
It's a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you very much, and the motion carries.
And they meet tomorrow, and he will make up the quorum.
There we go.
That's great news.
That's a victory.
Yes, great
Women
timing.
at work.
Thank you. I do not have a second item, but I would like to add an item for the benefit of the community, and that would be our September 4th village newsletter pointing the emergence of West Nile virus as with mosquitoes in our community. And again, standing water is not good for mosquitoes for us. Define when outdoor use, protect yourself. Down to dusk, we have issues with mosquitoes, so wear repellent outdoors during those prime times and dress appropriately. That is long t-shirts and maybe 2 layers of t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts that are protecting mosquito bites. People have been hit, people have been affected, so be careful.
Is,
Go ahead.
is this going to prompt a
use of a
Adulticide
stronger-
treatment?
Yes, stronger or
So
adulticide.
far, our conversations with the village's contractor, Clark, have been, their direction. The first thing was to issue out a notice to the community share out, and we did that on Wednesday. But so far, no recommendation to spray
Good.
yet. And the weather, this is such weather-driven, the hatching and appearance of mosquitoes. We're hopeful. We're going through a dry spell now, and I don't think it's supposed to rain until maybe this weekend, Sunday. So I'm hopeful that the standing water disappears and we don't see it. It's also, so I think it gets. I'm hoping the answer is no. We haven't done it in a couple of years.
I thought not, yeah.
Yeah. So
And I would love to have a third year.
yeah.
I
So-
know others would as well.
Yes, I was reminded by residents that are part of our garden community how much the ecosystem is affected by.
Yes.
And so the survival of birds, of toads and frogs.
Bees.
Bees,
Yeah.
all the bees especially is important if we can not have a spraying. I went to, 2 years ago and last year I went to different areas in Wisconsin and northern Wisconsin and Canada that had, and Minnesota, that had no such, there would not be a spraying. There are so many toads, there are so many frogs. And this is harsh, and I live on the side of a ravine, I do not see the toads and frogs. I saw a toad last week in my garden, so I was happy. But
I just wonder if we can give direction, if others are interested in doing so, that if there's a close call, that we opt not to use adulticide. I don't know. I appreciate that we're not going to call a special meeting about adulticide, but if that's how we say it. But I believe that the sense of the board when we took over mosquito abatement was we really don't want to use this unless we have no other choice. That's my
I'm
memory.
comfortable if there's a close call that we say nay.
As am I.
That has been the direction I've been taking. So
I thought as much.
Yes.
Just reminding us that,
heard for a little reinforcement.
right,
Yep.
right, I appreciate it.
Yep.
thank you.
Okay.
Moving forward to our consent agenda. Tonight we have the acceptance of a correspondence, item 11 on our consent agenda. Please note that all correspondence was delivered to the Village Board of Trustees in the informational report on August 23rd and 30, 2024. We have item 12, that is a second reading of an ordinance amending the Lake Bluff Municipal Code regarding no parking areas on Simpson Avenue. And last, item 13, that would be a second reading of an ordinance amending Title 3 of a municipal code regarding peddlers and solicitors as a fee waiver policy. Is there a request to remove any of these items from the consent agenda? I do not see any request. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion related to these items? I do not see that. So hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Hatch.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you so much. Moving on to other business, and that will be item 14, the second reading of an ordinance amending the Lake Bluff Municipal Code regarding alarm systems. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. The Village of Lake Bluff is a home rule municipality in accordance with Article 7, Section 6 of the Constitution of the State of Illinois of 1970, and has the authority to regulate the installation and maintenance, response to, and fine and fees associated with alarm systems. Title 5 of the Lake Bluff Municipal Code sets forth regulations relating to public safety, with Chapter 6 of this title setting forth regulation pertaining specifically to alarm systems. After an extensive review by the village's public safety managers and the village attorney, a determination was made that the current ordinance did not reflect the best practices for responding to and managing alarms within the village service area, and the attached ordinance provides the necessary updates and clarifications. The village board approved first reading of the ordinance at its August 26th meeting. Since the last meeting, village staff has added further clarification to the draft, which will be presented tonight. Questions? Comments?
I would just like to add, if I may, just the changes, like I said, we talked about it, Chief Graff and Chief Smazinski and I, and we just added a couple few words here and there to really just make it crystal clear to those based off our experience working with various folks that have alarm systems connected, and just modify the language to really account for what we thought was pretty much every scenario that we've encountered to date, and they're pretty self-explanatory, but we're happy to answer any questions if there are any.
There were modifications asked by the board. Have you guys seen those modifications, and are they satisfactory to your review?
Fine.
Okay. Terry and Suzanne?
Yes.
Yep. Chief?
I think this will just help us clean up some of the alarm response, so.
Okay. So it is a roll call vote. If there are no,
It's a voice vote.
it's a voice vote?
It's the second reading. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Roll
My
call.
mistake, my mistake.
Mine was right. So it's a roll call.
You're right a lot.
Claire, please call the roll.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Trustee Hatch has stepped out of the room. The motion carries.
Thank you. Next item is item 15, a resolution approving the fourth amendment to the site agreement by and between the village and Crown Castle regarding the use of a village's personal wireless facility located at the Public Safety Building on 45 East Center Avenue. And is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. In 1991, the village of Lake Bluff entered into a 20-year lease agreement with Southwestern Bell Mobile Systems, also known as Cellular One Chicago, allowing for the installation and maintenance of a 150-foot cell tower at the Public Safety Building property located at 45 East Center Avenue. This agreement has been amended 3 times over the past 3 decades for a variety of reasons, including Amendment number 1 authorized the replacement of existing antenna equipment in 2003. Number 2, Amendment number 2 authorized the replacement of the entire tower, construction of a new equipment enclosure, new lease terms of 15 years, which was effective in 2011, and Amendment number 3 allowed for T-Mobile to be added as a new carrier on the tower in 2015. With the current lease expiring in 2026 and the knowledge that prior negotiations were protracted, the village began negotiations with Crown Castle representatives more than a year ago. The attached lease agreement amendment secures the following for the village: a new lease term expiring in 2046, so for a 20-year term beginning at the conclusion of the current agreement, a $100,000 one-time signing bonus, and an 8.5% increase over current rent. And I read here, the new base rent will be $67,733 per year, with a 3% annual rent escalator, and a 50% share of payment for Dish Wireless as a possible new carrier. In return, the village provides Crown Castle first right of refusal for the tower and a new 20-plus year lease. While there is a great variety of leases for municipal cell towers sites through the North Shore, village staff believes these terms are competitive and recommends approval of this 4th amendment. And I believe after discussion with Drew, those are great terms for the village.
Yeah, the village over the years has had leases for cell antenna on the water tower, and we've had actually one come off of the tower at the public safety building. recently when there was a merger. And so the trend has actually been, those monopoles, those tall monopoles are still needed for the network, but there was a trend to go to small cell sites throughout, certainly in the urban areas, and that has happened. In certain areas, it hasn't really hit us that greatly yet, but interesting enough, in our research, these lease terms would leave us only, I believe, second to Lake Forest in terms of rent that we can secure. And it's been difficult. We've looked for consultants in this space to try to find somebody to give us some guidance on that. And there's just really not a lot of people that do that. And some of them are in Texas, and they don't want to waste time on things like this and holding these databases for us. But nonetheless, in the conversations we've had with other finance directors around the North Shore area, these are really excellent terms. And again, I'll say our friends in the village of Glencoe are dealing with one of their carriers, and they're asking for a rent reduction. And so working with Crown Castle, they actually wanted a 30-year term. We went for a smaller, shorter period, more beneficial to the village. And the $100,000, most of the time you see those types of one-time payments or $3,000, $5,000, much smaller increments. So this was good. And what really helped us is the last time the village did a long renewal with the prior carrier, there was a $185,000 payment in there. That money, we were trying to work with the developer the cell tower company at that time. We were trying to work with them because we were having worries that, the public safety building, the firehouse, and where our volunteers show up to park for events, there's not a lot of footprint there, and we're trying to really settle them down in one location. So trying to work on that. Additionally, we were really focused on trying to get one backup generator for the entire site. So like right now, when the cell tower has a power failure, each carrier shows up with their own generator. And that's frustrating for us. Now, fortunately, it doesn't happen a lot, but when it does, it's not what we want in terms of the level of activity and security. It is a public safety building. We don't, so it's problematic, and we worked really hard a long time ago, and this negotiation tried to get them to move towards that, and they won't do it. And they say it doesn't happen that way, it doesn't work that way, but nonetheless, I recommend these terms as presented. I think they're strong for the village.
I think they are strong too, and I really want to thank you for thanking you and your staff for getting those terms to our village. So thank you for that, because I think this is actually pretty remarkable. Comments on the village? Comments to Drew?
I had a chance to talk to Drew for quite a while about this, and I concur. These are good business terms. It's a good move for the village. I did not read the contract, and given that there's 4 attorneys on this board, it'll be covered, but I'm totally comfortable.
Thank you. Kat?
Yeah, Drew answered my question about the 185 on the last time and why that had happened.
Yeah, we wanted them to pay for the addition for the workout facility, but they didn't want to do that, so they gave us the cash to do it. So that was kind of the big trade-off. And the big trade-off really, actually, the tower was allowed to go taller, and that was what they bought.
It's actually interesting. My first cell phone was in 1991. The village was absolutely notorious for no signal as you would approach it. And so we have probably a weird topology that is not conclusive to good signal on cell phones, still a radio. And so it's not only do we get the cash, but we get the reception. So thank you very much. Taryn and Suzanne, good?
Good.
And nothing to add.
Thank you.
It's good.
So it is a roll call. It is a roll call. Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
Trustee Hatch.
Aye.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you. Next is our trustees' report. Do any trustee wish to make a report tonight?
No, sir.
Do not? Yes.
Thank you. Moving forward, and I believe that, this is item 17, our consideration of the August 26, 2024 executive session meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Is there any discussions or comments on these minutes? It is going to be a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? And the motion carries. Thank you very much. And I believe tonight we have an executive session. May I have a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of discussing purchase or lease of real estate property pursuant to the Illinois Open Meeting Act, and that upon the adjournment of the closed session, this regular meeting will be deemed to automatically be adjourned by the same vote without the conduct of any further business. Motion to go in session.
So moved?
Second.
Thank you.
It's a roll call.
This concludes the open part of the, it's a roll call. It's a roll call. Claire, please call the roll.
Trustee Hatch.
Aye.
Trustee Rappin.
Aye.
Trustee Ryder.
Aye.
Trustee Fisher.
Aye.
The motion carries.
Thank you. And so this concludes the open part of the village board meeting. Thank you to everyone in attendance, and have a great evening.